keeping things. Pragati said she's happy to take questions during her session. So at any point in time, if you have a question on what's been said, you can use the chat functionality and type in your question there, or come off mute, switch on your camera, and kind of interrupt the session and ask your question by all means. Hi, Wenzel.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
Good and you, welcome.
Sorry for joining a bit late.
No problem. We're just about to get started.
Great stuff.
We are recording the session and we'll put up the recording on our YouTube channel shortly after it. And I guess with that, then introducing our guest speaker, Pragati, all the way from India. Congratulations on being a first-time parent in your newborn. You're on maternity leave, so really do appreciate the time that you've taken off to present the session. I'm not going to introduce you even more. You're a Microsoft MVP and you got newly renewed from the MVP program, currently working for Avanade. But with that, I think I'm going to hand over the baton to you to do a proper introduction and get into your session. So just thanks a lot for your time and very much looking forward to your session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nico. Just one thing, if in between you think my internet is breaking, just let me know. I'll just turn off my video. But before that, before I start, first of all, thank you, everyone. I mean, thank you for making to join my session, especially when Nico told me it's lunchtime in South African time zone. So thank you so much for attending. And yeah, I think let's not wait much. Let's just go cracking. And yeah, happy to take any questions that you have while I'm doing the session. And if you can just type in chat, I'll try to monitor the chat. If not, Nico or Chanel, if you can just interrupt me and I can take up the questions. So I'll just share my screen and then we can go from there. Okay, I hope everyone should see my presentation. Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Okay, so before everyone joined, I was having a quite nice catch up with Nico, and we were talking about Microsoft Fabric, how it has evolved. And I was telling to Nico, like the session topic today, what I'm presenting today is something I really like about Microsoft Fabric. And let's see, I mean, I'll keep on while I talk about Semantic Link today. And I literally call it the secret superpower because until I was not, familiar with Semantic Link, I literally didn't know about it. But the moment I started reading about it, read few blogs from the community members, Microsoft official blogs, and then I started implementing it in Fabric environment. And I was like quite wowed about few things I saw using Semantic Link. So hopefully I change everyone's point of view by the end of this session, like why Semantic Link is actually the secret superpower of Microsoft Fabric. So let's get started. I'll not spend much time on my introduction, but let's go quickly as I've got a slide there. So as Nico already introduced me, my name is Pragati Jain. I'm a new ma to a little boy. Actually, my little boy is not that little now. He turned 10 months old a few days back. So yeah, but still enjoying this phase. I'm currently on my maternity leave, but still I love sharing my knowledge. So I've continued doing that while on my maternity leave as well. Apart from that, I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, recently got renewed for the 5th time in a row. So quite proud of it. That I'm still in there. Apart from that, I'm also a super user at Microsoft Fabric community. I'm sure everyone knows about Microsoft Fabric community, but if not, definitely go and check it out. Before Microsoft Fabric, I was working with Power BI, and most of my Power BI, and this is an honest thing I tell everyone, most of my Power BI I've learned from Microsoft Fabric community. And now that community has expanded a lot because now we have got different Fabric areas there, data factory and, data engineering, data science. So you can go and learn about all those things. And this community is pretty good because people keep on posting different solutions around the questions that we as community members go and ask. And the amazing thing is you end up seeing multiple solutions, multiple ways of solving a problem. So that's why I love this community. It has just given me so much, and that's why I ask people to go and join it and see what people are doing there. Apart from that, I've got nearly a decade years of industry experience, especially in the analytics area. And currently, I'm working as an analytics manager at Avanade in London, United Kingdom. Currently, I'm in India, spending some time with my family. That's why I'm delivering the session from India today. I'm also organizer at Data Weekender Conference. It's basically a free data platform conference that we organize every year. It's a virtual conference, so you really don't have to come in person, but you can actually learn about so many different things during this conference, whether it is Fabric, whether it is SQL Server, or any other data platform technology. So we'll be announcing soon our next conference date. So yeah, you'll get to know it soon. Apart from that, I also manage and host Microsoft Fabric UK user group, which is again a virtual user group that I run alongside my fellow MVP colleague, Leon Gordon. And we do it virtually because it just gives us flexibility around getting speakers from around the world. And if any of you are interested in speaking or, want to have a stage to do your first speaking session, we are more than happy to welcome new speakers as well. So let us know if you want to do anything. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. Okay, that was about me. Okay, there's one fun fact about me as well there. I like to paint, so that's why I proudly call myself a techie artist as well. So that's what is about me. But let's see today what we are going to talk. So today's agenda is going to be very simple. We are going to answer 3 questions: what, why, and how about Semantic Link. So we'll start with what is Semantic Link. And once we have a good understanding on that, we are going to talk about why we should use Semantic Link in Microsoft Fabric environment. And once we are there, then I'll show you how to use Semantic Link. Now, regarding the demos, I've actually pre-created the demos because it's mostly the notebook based, and I really didn't want to spend time in writing the notebooks from scratch. And I would really not, tell anyone to write anything from scratch, because Microsoft Product Group team has done an amazing job by giving you a pre-created notebooks which you can implement in your Fabric-enabled workspace and use it quite easily. So why do the hard work if do the smart work by just changing or modifying what you really need? So I'll show you how you can get started with it and how you can do multiple things using Semantic Link. So let's just quickly start with what the Semantic Link is. And I'm going to talk this very briefly because I want to focus this session more on showcasing how to use Semantic Link and why it is important that you should opt this as an option, especially when you're working with Microsoft Fabric. So what is Semantic Link? I mean, everyone will see this definition. It's been taken from Microsoft documentation. So what they talk about Semantic Link is that Semantic Link actually helps you establish a connection between your semantic models that you're using on the Power BI side and the data science side. So before I go forward, why they talk about that it's like a connection between your Power BI semantic model and data science. Now, there are certain times that when you work in a team, like let's start with, like, for example, you are a data modeler. You have created a semantic model. I hope everyone knows what a semantic model is, and I don't need to talk about what a semantic model is. And as a data modeler, it is your responsibility to add all the business logic to that semantic model. So it can be used by your analyst team or your report developers down the line to create those story insights in Power BI. But sometimes there is a need in your team that your data scientists want to run some kind of, say, machine learning algorithms or, say, LLM models or, like, say, some predictive models and understand some patterns within your data. Now, if as a data modeler, you have already done the hard work where you have created a semantic model, you have implemented all the calculations, you have written all the nice, amazing DAX code, nice calculations with your calculated columns or tables or measures, and now you have a completely, good semantic model which actually fits well with the business logic given by your customer. Then why do data scientists need to rework everything? So this semantic link helps the data scientist to access all the semantic information for their work, for do some advanced analytics or their predictive analysis. That's why this semantic link is very helpful, because it kind of avoids the additional work, or it also avoids the data silos created within the team. Because I know every one of you work in this industry, and we know how tough, or how risky data silos can be, because data silos can actually lead to like invalid results, or the results that are not right. And it is very important to avoid these data silos or reduce these data silos, especially in your data. So semantic link helps you to avoid that as well, because your data scientist team will only access what you have already done as a semantic model and access everything what's built in your semantic model. So this diagram is very simple. I mean, it just shows like okay, I should have asked this question before. I hope everyone has worked with Microsoft Fabric before. If not, just type in there if you haven't worked with Microsoft Fabric before. I hope everyone has worked, because no one has typed in the chat that they haven't worked with Microsoft Fabric before. I mean, if not, you should raise your hand. It's okay. This was me 2 years back when Microsoft Fabric came. I was like, I don't know what the hell Microsoft Fabric is. I don't know anything about it. I literally said that in a conference, in a session. Can you tell me what it is? So, I mean, yeah, I always say that. But yeah, glad everyone has worked with Microsoft Fabric before. So we all know what that one lake concept is. One lake is the single, like Nico has already written, single version of truth. So I would say it's the single version of truth for your data, which is resided at a single place, and it can be accessed by all the teams within your organization. So like, for example, you have got data engineers, data scientists, your Power BI developers, they all will have a copy of that same data, and they can access the data from the same place. So semantic link just help you establish and give your data scientists access to your Power BI semantic models. Next, combine the screens. Okay. Now we talked about what semantic link is very briefly. If this is not clear at this stage, give me a few more minutes. It will get clear once we start seeing some practical demonstration on what this is about. Now, when it comes to semantic link, as I said earlier, it kind of gives you, I should tell, I mean, the word is not coming. It actually gives you more, exposure to the data that, your wider team is working with. So it kind of facilitates a data connectivity. Now, within the semantic model, you have got different kinds of information, like your metadata. You have got semantics like measures, calculations built in there. So it helps you enable, propagate those kind of information as well. Again, as I said earlier, it like completely integrates, without any issue with your data science tools like notebooks. This is actually the main thing. Like by writing simple code in a notebook, you can access all the information of your semantic model. And again, it's the same thing. It bridges the gap between your Power BI and data science experience. Now, a few things, if you want to get started with semantic link, again, semantic link actually works with a Python library, which is called SemPy. And if you want to start working with it, then this Python library is available, it's like just available. You really don't have to pay anything for it. So you can just start downloading and getting all the modules within this library and get started with semantic link. And one thing is like, once you start using this SemPy library, it actually helps you access everything within your semantic model. As I said earlier, it could be your tables, it could be your calculations like measures. If you have created calculation groups, field parameters, you can get access to everything. You can have access to all your DAX queries you have written, and even you can run some kind of optimizations using this SemPy library on your semantic model. And when it comes to optimization, and we all know optimization is like a very wider and important aspect of delivering a solution. You really need to make sure your semantic models are as optimized as possible, because they serve as the foundation of everything you do, which is called advanced analytics on top of it. So it is very important to optimize your semantic models. And this SemPy library actually gives you insight, like where your model is having issues, what all you can improve on your model, what is really, like, for example, if your calculations are written well using a certain business logic or not, you can get all the definitions around your measures and check using your business logic. If not, you can go back and change things as well. And even using SemPy Python library, you can make changes to your semantic model as well. And again, it uses as it is a Python library, it supports PySpark, Spark SQL, R, Scala. So again, doesn't matter from which background you come from, you can write your queries in notebooks very easily. We'll see them pretty in few minutes. And then there is few more things around semantic link, which I'll just go quickly on. When it comes to propagation of your data within the semantic model, this SemPy library also helps you propagate down to the data categories. If you've got like geographical data, or say you've got your URL-based data or barcode data, you can easily get insights around different kinds of data categories. Also, if there are relationships, obviously, we have a semantic model, so it has got relationships. So you can navigate down completely to the relationships and see what relationships you have got in your semantic model. If there are hierarchies, you'll have insights around hierarchies as well. Now, we saw very briefly what semantic link is. If there are any questions, just put them in the chat. I can explain more around what semantic link is. If not, then I would go forward on why use semantic links. So in the starting, I said we are going to answer 3 questions about semantic link in today's session: what, why, and how. So we already saw what semantic link is. Now we'll see why use semantic link. As we already saw in the previous slide, that semantic link kind of helps you bridge that gap between the Power BI semantic models and your data science team or your data engineering team, because it helps you propagate through different kind of semantic information, as it gives access to semantic model metadata to your wider team. It avoids data silos because it avoids duplication of business logic by data scientists. Because if they already have access to your semantic model where all the business logic is built, they can directly reuse that logic in their prediction models. They really don't have to write those logic again in their notebooks. They can reduce the duplicated effort, and this also eliminates the need of separate data preparation as well, because if you as a data modeler have already done the data preparation in your semantic model, they really don't have to do anything more further down to use them for the prediction models. Okay, I think there is a question from Nico. Do you need to enable anything or toggle any switch to make semantic link on your semantic data model available in your Fabric tenant? So Nico, you really don't need to do that, because semantic link basically works on the concept of just downloading some Python libraries and just writing some code in notebooks, which is already built in Microsoft Fabric. You just create a new notebook, write the code, and just start cracking. There are definitely some scenarios where I will share a link in the end. So there's a slide with the resources on semantic link. So there are certain use cases, like for example, if you want to understand or say get the definitions on your measures, it kind of uses Copilot in the background. So there are certain scenarios in that case where you really need Copilot enabled on your Fabric capacity. So if you're working on a paid capacity, you have Copilot. Like for example, I'll be using a trial Fabric today, so I don't have Copilot there. But there are certain use cases where you might need Copilot, but you really don't need anything apart from that. You can work everything on the trial Fabric as well. And again, it's a unified semantic layer because everyone is kind of using the consistent data, consistent business logic, consistent relationship from your semantic model, because what you as a Power BI developer has created, the same thing is used by your data scientist. So it ensures the team works with the same data logic. It reduces data inconsistencies because you have already got everything at a unified place. And again, it facilitates team collaboration. So these are some of really strong points why semantic link is required, because as a working with analytics in analytics in last few years, I have seen the team collaboration is the part where most of the processes fail, and where I have seen it's really tough to get everyone together. And when Microsoft Fabric came into place, I think that's what I loved about it. Everything is at a single unified place, which is one lake, and everyone within your team can access it. I mean, obviously, you can set up access at different levels. Like, for example, your data engineers have access to everything, starting from your raw data to, say, transform data to your models. But say your Power BI developers have access to your transform data and your models. But then your data scientists have just access to your semantic models, because they don't need to have access to anything before that, because the semantic model is your, again, single version of truth, as Nico said earlier. So we can set up those access rights at different levels and at, by different security groups, or I should say now they're called They're called something else, right? Microsoft Intra IDs, I think. Yeah, Intra IDs. So yeah, that's how it helps with that team collaboration. And also, if the data scientists have already got those business logic ready, they have got that semantic model ready, and we have got all the calculations built in there, it just helps them create their solution faster, and they can just use everything, reduce additional effort of data model recreation, and it will just speed up their data science solution development. So that's why we should use Semantic Link. Now, this was just a single slide on why use Semantic Link. If there are any questions, definitely write that down. And now the most funny thing and the most interesting part is how to use Semantic Link. So that's the demo time. And this is the last slide I have. Trust me, after that, I just have a resource slides, and then, yeah, we will have more questions. Okay, so let me switch back to my, let me bring my like workspace thing, Okay, so yeah, I'm already in the workspace, it's fine. Can everyone see my screen properly, especially the Fabric environment? If it is smaller, I can make it bigger. Okay, cool. If there is any problem with anyone facing issues with the screen, let me know. I'll just make it bigger. Okay, so what I did in advance is like, I've just, okay, so this is a very famous data set. I've been using it for some of my trainings for last 2 years. So this is the Fabric yellow taxi, famous yellow taxi, New York taxi data. And it is it has got somewhere around 1.7 billion rows of data. That's why I like to use this to showcase some, real world examples to people, like how you can actually process this huge amount of data, easily in Fabric, and how easy it is quickly to get it processed. So I've got this data set already built in. And what I did was if you want to use this data, I'm sure you can find it online. I'll give you a link for this New York yellow taxi data. Yeah. You can get the data from here. And even it has got the code how to load it to a notebook. So I won't take any credit on loading this data to code, but I will take the credit on modifying and transforming the data as per my logics. So I got this data from here. And again, the reason why I got this was because it has got 1.7 billion rows of data. And it's really good to showcase sometimes in the trainings where, people are trying to understand, okay, why Fabric? How quickly it will process this volume of data. So you can get this data from here. I got this data into Fabric. Again, this session is not around getting the data and transforming the data into Fabric. We are talking about something next step. So what I did, I got this data into Fabric. I wrote a very simple notebook where I'm trying to transform this data as per my requirement. This data has got so much issues with there are some columns which have got wrong data categories and their mapping is not correct. So I had to correct it and transform it in a notebook. So that's what I did. And in the end, I ended up creating a semantic model. I'll just show this model because this is what we are going to use. Little bigger. And it's a simple model. I haven't done much on it because I wanted it to be simple. And what I have got is, now this New York yellow taxi data is about the number of trips these taxis have done over the certain time period. I don't remember the exact years this data goes to, but yeah, it is pretty good data. So basically, it's a perfect star schema model that I've tried to create. So those who have worked with Power BI before, they must be knowing that a star schema approach is preferred for you to have a good foundation of your semantic model, especially working with Power BI reports. So I tried to create a perfect star schema model. And what it has got one fact table there. And there are 4 different dimension tables there. Obviously, I had to work out a few things here to get my dimension tables. You don't have data it's a single data file that you get at this link. You have to split it, you have to transform it, you have to do some work on it. So I did all the job in a notebook and got it here. So this is my semantic model. And in the semantic model, what I did, I ended up creating some calculations. And I can show you, like I've got some measures here. So I just created very simple, some of the measures like total trips I can see in the data, total trip distance that these taxis have covered, total passengers they have served over a certain time, total fares they have charged, the tip amount they have charged. Then I added a few more metrics like average tip per passenger or average trip distance. So it's a very simple measures. I don't have any calculation groups here or calculate. Anyways, I don't have calculated columns because Direct Lake in Microsoft Fabric doesn't support calculated columns. So I can't create calculate because I did this everything in Fabric environment. That's why I like to show this example. This is an end-to-end example I created in this cloud environment. I didn't touch Power BI desktop to do this. So this is what I've done. Very simple semantic model. We are in the viewing mode. That's why we have everything grayed out here. But if I go into editing mode, if I want to edit it, then I can see a few things coming up here. I can create new things, but we are not creating anything right now. This is something I really like. It came up, I think, a few months back, that there is a viewing and editing mode on the semantic model. And I just loved it because I have made blunders in the starting by messing up with my semantic model when it is by default in the edit mode for you. So this is the simple semantic model. And now we are going to use semantic link capability to navigate to all the information that this semantic model has got. Nico, thanks for sharing. A good place to start with sample big data. Yeah. Okay, semantic models. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing that, Nico. Okay, so now let's go to how we can use semantic link. Let me also share one thing before I go to anything else. Okay. Now, as I was talking a few minutes earlier, why I would not say anyone to write everything from scratch, because first of all, before saying anything, I should give all the credits to Michael Kolosky, who is actually the creator of Semantic Link Labs. He's the senior, I think he's the senior program manager at Microsoft. And also Sandeep Pawar, who has recently joined Microsoft CAT team for his work in the Semantic Labs alongside Michael. So these two people, I really follow Sandeep Pawar's blog. I'll share the link in the end. And also Michael Kolosky keeps on posting everything around Semantic Link Labs on LinkedIn. So if you want to get updated with all the updates he's been doing on daily basis, just follow him. And he has done an amazing job. So this Semantic Link Lab, it's all in the deck. There is a resource file which has got this. So in this, what Michael and his team has done, they have, first of all, there's an amazing video he did for one of the user group, which he has posted here, like how one should get started with Semantic Link. You can go and check out. And then over the time, this list has actually grown. It started with 6 or 7 scenarios, which I tried like a year back or so. But in last few months, it has just grown. They have just brought up so many different use cases and scenarios where you can use Semantic Link. So for example, if you want to understand how much your semantic model is done in accordance with the best practice analyzer, you can just go and check. There's a code written. It's a ready code written for you. You just copy this and put it in your notebook, just run it. You have to just give the name of your semantic model and the workspace you are running that notebook, and bloop, it gives you everything. That's why I was telling, I won't take credit for any code I've written, just few small things here and there I've done. But everything is ready for you. So if you don't know how to code in notebook, now this is not an excuse because everything is pre-written for you. You can still do it. If you don't know PySpark, it's fine. You have the code there, you have instructions there, what IDs you need to pass, that's it. And you just run the code and you get how to do things using Semantic Link. So let's see how we do it. So that's what I've done. Obviously, I'm not going to show all the use cases here, but I will show you some of the use cases which I think could be really important when you want to start with Semantic Link and you want to analyze what's there in your semantic model. So what I will do is I'll just go back to my Fabric environment. And yeah, I think, yeah, you can go to the Fabric experience if you want to go. And yeah, this is my model. That is my chat window. Yeah, my chat window is back. Okay. So what I've done, I've pre-created some of the Semantic Link demos, and we are going to see few use cases here. Okay, so once as a data modeler, when I create a semantic model and say, say, I know everything what I've created because I've created that semantic model. I've implemented all the business logics and But what all different calculations it has got. Has it been optimized? Has it been written keeping in mind the best practice, or what kind of relationships are there in this semantic model? Then there are a few different ways. You can do it just writing by a very simple notebook. So let's start with seeing, okay, what kind of relationships I've got in my semantic model. So I've created a notebook here. And what this notebook does is it just kind of scans my semantic model and shows me what relationships I have got in that model. That's it. Now,
Sorry, Pragati, your internet is lagging quite a bit.
So again, it's very easy. Let me turn off my camera.
Sorry about the interrupt. Perfect. Yeah,
no,
thank you.
It's absolute. Is it better? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, do I need to go back, Nico, or is that okay? Was I audible till here?
I think just recap. What's the first demo going to be about the relationship? So just your model and relationships. Take it from there. Thanks.
Sure. So, as I said earlier, like as a data modeler, I understand what's been done in the semantic model, what's been built in there, what calculations I have written, or what kind of business logic I've implemented. But suppose if I come from a different team, like from a data science team, and I really want to understand, okay, what kind of relationships I've built in the model, what kind of tables are there, what columns they have got. So that is a way they can actually use it using a notebook. And the simplest thing is they can just write a notebook, which will navigate to the semantic model, and they will see, okay, what relationships are there, what all table, and how those relationships are built. So again, as I said earlier, this notebook was again pre-created by Michael Kolosky and his team, and I just added a few bits to it to make it work. In the starting, I'm just trying to install all the labs. Semantic Link labs. If you've worked with Python or PySpark before, you know that you need to install all the packages to get things working, to write all the functions. Okay, looks like my internet is a little bit interrupted. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So once I downloaded all the packages, then what I did, I ended up downloading some of the necessary modules that I will need to, get this working in a notebook. And I'm not explaining these modules or packages. You can just go and read about them. There's a very good documentation around them that the team has done. And then once I do that, what I'm doing, I'm trying to just list all the semantic models that reside within my workspace. So I was working in this Fabric Yellow Taxi workspace, and obviously within this Fabric Yellow Taxi workspace, I've got so many different semantic models, not just one. But here I'm going to navigate to one semantic model, which I showed you earlier, which was my New York Taxi. Once I do that, I know I want to understand what kind of relationships with the semantic model. So what I did was, going further down, I just ran this code, and what it ends up doing is it kind of shows me some kind of metrics below. It kind of gives me insights in the form of a table. I can clearly see that I have got two tables. Like for example, there's a New York Taxi data yellow table, which was a fact table, and this is a dimension table, vendor table, and then I've got a relationship on the column vendor ID. And I can see what kind of relationship is there, like the cross filtering is one directional. And then if you remember, it was a one-to-many relationship from dimension to fact table. So I can see that here. So it kind of shows me all the insights around, okay, what relationships are built between what tables, on what columns, what kind of relationship is there. And I don't see any many-to-many relationship in this case. As I mentioned earlier, apologies, there seems to be a couple of connections with the internet. Oh.
Yeah, I'm getting most of it, Pragati. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, just stating there, if anybody misses anything, just type in the question. But it's a bit better now with the camera off, so good to go. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, let me know, guys. I mean, if there is issue, I'll try to change my place. I'll go to a different room if that's fine. Okay, so this kind of very easily gave me, okay, what kind of relationships and what all relationships I've built in this semantic model. And I can see I've got like 5 different relationships built in. But further down the line, now I come from a Power BI world and I create reports and I love visualization. And the best part is, rather than having this table, we can actually visualize our relationships within the semantic model. And for that, there's a very simple plot function that runs, and it kind of gives me a chart. Okay, how my relationships are with my fact table and dimension table. So it kind of shows me like, okay, I've got 2 relationships between my calendar table and fact table. Then I've got individual 3 relationships from my dimension table to my fact table. So this notebook kind of helps us understand or navigate through the relationships within the semantic model. Let's go to the different use case. If there's any question on this, let me know. Okay, so this was something I wanted to understand what all relationships were done on my semantic model. But now say, if I want to understand what all business logic or calculations are built within the semantic model, then for that, you can again write a simple notebook which kind of shows you what are measures or calculations we have created. So load. Yeah. So what this notebook does is it helps me extract all the calculation or definitions that I have created on the semantic model. So again, I start with installing my Semantic Link labs. And once it is done, and then again, I do the same thing. I try to extract all the semantic models that reside in my current Fabric Yellow Taxi workspace. And once that is done, I know I want to analyze everything on this particular semantic model. And there's a simple function that lists all the measures that are created in my semantic model. I just run this part of the code. And then see, you can see it lists down all the 6 measures that I've created on this semantic model. So I can clearly see, okay, I've got total trips measure, its definition here, what is the data type, what display folder it is under, what format it's been created, and so on and so on. So this kind of gives me an understanding on what business logics are built in on this semantic model. Now, this is a very important step for someone who has not created this semantic model. They now know, okay, what calculations are built. And in a way, this also helps with documentation. Yeah, like in the comment I see, very good to help with documentation as well. Exactly. It kind of gives you everything at a single place. So this notebook is actually serving multiple, things here. It is helping your data scientists to understand all the logics you have created, all the calculations you have created, and obviously, as it's like a single team working on the same model, they can always come back to you if they have some questions or you think, or they think it should be corrected. Then, it's like a team collaboration work, right? So it helps you work collaboratively as well. So this is how they can understand what's been built on semantic model as part of calculations or business logic. And again, in this notebook, they can actually start doing some additional analysis as well. So for example, if I want to just evaluate one of my measure like total trips, okay, what is the output of this measure? Because this above notebook just gives me the list of measures that I have created on the semantic model. It does tell me what is the output of this measure. So they can actually evaluate these measures in the notebook itself. So your data scientists, they don't know how to write DAX, but they can still run your measures and assess what is the output of the measure. They can get what this actually gives you. So for example, if I want to evaluate my total trips, once I evaluate that, okay, I can see, oh, I have got somewhere around 1.57 billion trips in this entire data set. So against this. Similarly, if they want to do some kind of aggregations or groupings to do additional analysis, they can write all those groupings as well. Like, for example, if they want to group total trips by payment type and vendor, then they can do that as well. So this notebook is actually facilitating additional data analysis for them to understand what will be really helpful going down the line to run their predictive models. Um, uh, I'm not sure how many of you are from the data science background, but whenever we write predictive models, it's very important to understand the column data. And then because based on the data only, you're going to write your models. You're going to write a predictive model, like what kind of pattern you're trying to predict. So it's really important for them to do these kind of analysis. So that is really easy to do in the notebook. And again, data scientists and data engineers, like, they are pro with the notebooks, right? They know how to write these amazing code using PySpark or R in the notebook, and they can do everything here. So they really don't need to know what a data modeler does. They really don't need to know DAX. They really don't need to know how our data model is created, because they can have everything in a single notebook. Similarly, they can do all kind of groupings and filterings and do further analysis on what the data is really about, what it is giving. Like, for example, I can see some NA payment type. It looks like a data discrepancy there, right? So they can help us make the data better as well. So it's good for them that they have everything within the notebook accessible to them so that they can run their models in the right way. Again, we can do all kinds of grouping and try to run it again. So yeah, that's what that would help, but it also helps them evaluate and do some advanced analysis on the data and see, okay, how the data is aggregated, what kind of patterns are already there, do they need to add something, or is there something that needs to be corrected on the data side or on the semantic model side. So this really, again, helps in working the team in collaboration. So this was another use case where, the data scientist team can get insights on what kind of logics are built and help those logics and take those logics further down to do their advanced analysis. Now let's go to the another scenario. Now the next, what I want to show is around model optimization. Again, as I said earlier, model optimization is like a very big step, especially if you want to deliver a good, long run and, sustainable solution. And again, if you come from Power BI world, model optimization can be done in many ways. Like one of the ways, like you can use third-party tools like Tabular Editor, DAX Studio to see how is what really needs to be optimized. But now, within the Semantic Link area, they have given you everything by running a simple workflow. So for example, if I want to see the data model or the semantic model that is it according to the best practice analyzer. Now, best practice analyzer is basically inbuilt subtool within Tab, gives us an understanding whether we have used best practices to create this semantic model. Now, libraries, then I want to assess this particular semantic model that is residing in this workspace, whether it has been done based on the best practice analyzer. And I just run best practice analyzer and it kind of gives me this result. So if you see, there are 4 different tabs. It kind of gives us an output. Like first is DAX expression. And here gives me inactive relationship that is never activated. So if you remember my semantic model that I showed you, it had 2 relationships between my calendar table and my fact table. And obviously only one relationship will be active and one will be inactive. And I have not used that inactive relationship anywhere in my semantic model to write a logic. So my best practice analyzer clearly tells me, oh, this has never been used. Now, come on, this is like a very important thing that this analyzer has shown. I'm not sure how many of you have been in a place where you have been given a semantic model and they just tell you to identify, okay, what measures are used, what relationships are used. Can you just remove them? Can you just clean this data model so we have a smaller and more optimized model. And this is what I used to do using third-party tools. But here now I can do everything using a notebook. So as a Power BI developer also, I can leverage the capability of Semantic Link, doing all what I have been doing for past few years. It's not just for data scientists, but as a Power BI developer as well, I can understand my model and help it more and optimize it more. I don't say that there is no need for third-party tools. Still, there is a need for third-party tools because they do a lot of things that are not here still. But still, there are many things you can already see here within the same Fabric environment. Now, second tab, if I go formatting, it clearly tells me there is an issue with some of the columns, like I have summarized my numeric columns. And obviously, if you have read about the best practices on semantic model, we should never summarize the numeric columns. It just, creates issue with your model optimization. So it again gives me like, okay, this is severity. You have summarized the columns you should not be doing. So it kind of gives me an understanding, okay, where the problem is in my semantic model. And it kind of shows me the naming convention as well, like, okay, what I should be doing with the column names. Again, it tells me hide your foreign keys, why your foreign keys are known or visible. Or it also tells me, okay, what kind of formatting I should give to my yes, no column. So it's actually telling me what really needs to be optimized on this model. I have got some relationship columns that should be of integer type. So it again tells me where I can correct my model and make it more optimized. So this is like an amazing use case, like why this Semantic Link Lab can help us do everything within the same environment. We really don't have to go to somewhere else to get this done. And especially, when you work with a secure client environment where they don't allow you to download like these third-party tools, then these notebooks can really help you understand and help you optimize your semantic model. Especially with banking clients, they really don't allow you to download anything apart from like, say, Power BI. They'll be like, no, everything is in cloud and we really don't want you to download anything else. And when you don't have access to those third-party tools, it's really hard to understand, okay, how should I optimize my model? But when these things came up, as I said in the starting, there are factors about Semantic Link that wowed me. And this is one of the factors where it wowed me. Now I really don't have a need. I'm not, bound to downloading those third-party tools where I can't download them. I can actually do everything in the same environment. And that's where I really love what Semantic Link is capable of in this environment. Again, there are some kind of maintenance warnings there. Then there are performance warnings there. Like I'm using floating data type, definitely a big no to the floating data type. It says my calendar table is not marked as a date table. That is the very big thing that it has pointed. And I should be doing that. So I can see all the problems with my model here, and I can go back and optimize it by just understanding what this simple single line of code ran and showed me. So this is like one of the, again, as I said, this is again something I love about Semantic Link, that I can see everything in the same environment. Again, further down the line, what I liked about it is this came back, I think, few months back only, that once I run the best practice analyzer, I can actually generate the report by running a single line of code based on this output, what has this notebook cell given me. And I just run this single notebook, single line of code. And in the end, it creates a report for me. Let me show you the report. And obviously, as I said, from Power BI, results what I had earlier in that notebook, different filters, and I can see what's really going on in the model. And this is something really a strong thing I can share, say, Power BI developers this report, and they can start optimizing my model based on the discrepancies, what they see by running the best practice analyzer. Capacity, I'm analyzing this for one workspace, and I've got 635 violations for the two semantic models that reside in this workspace. And I can actually see what's really going on here. I can run all the filters. I can see what errors I have got. Like I can see my model, there is a problem in one of the semantic model. And like, see, if I want to see what's the problem with the DAX expression, how many errors are there, how many warnings are there, and I can further here in this table dig down, okay, what DAX expressions are having the problem. So this is like kind of really, really good and strong, powerful report, which is created out of the best practice analyzer output. And suppose if I want to go to the model view as well, again, at the model level, I can see, okay, what all things are happening within this particular model, which is my New York tax warnings. And then again, I can dig down and see, okay, model should have a date table because I haven't marked it as a date table. So it's kind of giving me that warning. It shows me do not use floating point data type. So I can go and see, okay, what columns it is telling that, excuse me. And then I can go and further down correct the data types and make my model more optimized. And one of the best thing about this model is, about this report is, in the end, it gives me a list of all the issues with my semantic model. And also in the last column, it kind of tells me what steps I should follow and gives me the blogs, which kind of tells me how to avoid and correct these issues in my semantic model. Okay, is everyone with me still?
Yeah, I can still hear you, Pragati.
Okay, is it a problem with the Nico side, or I'm just... Okay, so Nico, this, yes, this best practice analyzer report was generated by this notebook. So this was the same notebook where we were trying to understand all the rules which are modern, what should be corrected to make the model more optimized. And further down in the notebook, from the output which my best practice analyzer gave in the above cell. So it's just, it's creating a report. So again, it was notebook based. I didn't do anything additional to create this best practice analyzer report. It created everything for me by itself. Is that clear, Nico, or do you want me to show it again?
No, that's perfect. Thank you very much. That's excellent. Thanks.
Yeah, I just scrolled through the code a little bit because there's no point in going into the code. It was more around showcasing like this notebook is capable of generating output on what is not right with your model, but using this extracted output, the same notebook creates a model, and using that semantic model, it actually creates a report for you. So if I'll show you here, I just gave it this part. So my model is here, and this is the report I was showing earlier. This is kind of really interesting because once you have this report, you can actually share it with your wider team which is a team of Power BI developers, and they can start working on optimizing your semantic model in a better way. And this will just, again, it helps with productivity, right? Rather than one person doing it, you split the work and get the job done. So this was, again, one of the use case, which I really love what Semantic Link is capable of. So Rakesh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nico. I'll definitely be the resources shared, and I have to drop off now for a client meeting. Thank you, Rakesh, for attending the session. I'm really glad that the session has helped you. And I'll be sharing the presentation with Nico, and I'll share it on my LinkedIn as well. So you can grab it from there. It has got all the resources, so you can get started. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn. That I wanted to show. Then other things that we can do. I mean, there are so many things we can do with the basically your semantic link. Then there was one this. Have we gone through the model optimization demo? Let me check. Did we go through the model optimization demo? No, we didn't. Okay. So then the another thing what comes out is, again, optimization is everything, right? We need to optimize as much as we can. So again, the semantic link lab again helps you as it propagates down to the underlying metadata of your semantic model. It again helps you optimize your model in a very easy way. Again, this notebook is pre-written. I just added a few things to it, importing the necessary libraries and all the packages in here. And then I'm trying to run Vertipack Analyzer. Now, those who are used to using third-party tools, as Power BI developer, they know what Vertipack Analyzer does. It actually reads your whole semantic model and tries to give you insight on, like, for example, the summary things like what is the size of your model, what is the size of your tables within the model, and further down some metrics. So when I run this Vertipack Analyzer, now again, earlier, if you don't have access to the third-party tools, then you can everything within the some of the metrics here, like model summary. I can size of my tables in it, total 67 columns, and the default it shows is, I'm not sure why it is showing import. I might have to go. But I'll go to the next couple of things. What all tables I've got in my model, what is the row? Obviously, my fact table has to be the biggest, so you can see the row count in there. Then I can see the total size. I can see the data size. I don't see any hierarchies in there, so I don't see anything in there. Then I can see columns and then few things. Again, if I'm interested in partitions, I can go and check the partitions and other stuff. I can check at a column level as well. So my Vertipack Analyzer gave me details around the columns as well within the table. So I can see what all columns the tables have, what is the size of the column, and I can see, okay, a few more things in there. So again, I can run Vertipack Analyzer via the notebook and see what I've done, what all optimizations I can do. They all are one-to-many. I don't have any many-to-many relationship in there. Otherwise, I'll have to check that. But yeah, any hierarchy, so it doesn't show. So again, running Vertipack Analyzer again gives me insight around, okay, what all things can be done to optimize my data model. And further down the line, what I can do, I can again run best practice analyzer, which we already saw earlier, so I'm not going to go through it again. And this is how you can understand what really needs to be corrected in your semantic model to make it more optimized. So this is what I did. It gives a single environment. Things are going to here. Now, as we have seen over the years, like sometimes we have got customers who say, like say if I'm working with a customer who's Chinese, or say who's German, or say who's French, and they really want to, say, understand the semantic model. Thanks, Miko. I'm really happy that you guys are liking what Semantic Link is doing. Oh, is my sound breaking up a lot now?
Yeah, it is.
Now? Okay.
It's
sorry about that, guys.
Good now, yeah.
Okay. So now the another scenario could be like if someone really, say if you want to translate your semantic model to a different language. So can you do that? I mean, obviously, I know English and I would really love to have my semantic model in English. But what if you want to convert it to a different language or translate it to a different language? So yes, Semantic Link helps you do that as well. And just by writing few lines of code, you can quickly do that. Again, just downloading the Semantic Link labs, then downloading the necessary modules, and just like say my New York taxi semantic model to Chinese, okay? And then I just write a single line of code which will translate and give me an output in Chinese language. So basically what this is doing, it is not changing my underlying semantic model metadata. It is just showing me as an output by changing it to Chinese, okay? This is a very big difference. It's not changing my underlying semantic model. It's just showing me the output in Chinese. So once I run this, it actually does some magic. And in the end, I actually see something in Chinese going on there. Apologies, I don't know Chinese, so I don't know if it is correct or not, but definitely I see something different in there, like language Chinese. I can see, I don't know why these two tables not Chinese, but I see, and it has really done few transformations and few translations here in Chinese language. So this is what all capabilities this semantic link has got within Microsoft Fabric. I mean, translation is generally a bigger problem, especially when you're dealing with customers or clients with different language, and they really want to see output in Chinese, then they can do it in French or German. So this is again another use case. It's a very strong use case where you can translate your semantic model metadata into a different language. Okay, let's go and see if we can. I'll be close notebooks because anyways, my internet is not that great.
No, that's been great. I mean, you've literally
see
just
which one we can see now.
Scratched the surface.
I think one last thing what I would like to show is a measure dependency tree, which you can generate using semantic links. I'm sure everyone has been there. Like we create measures, then we create some more measures reusing our existing measures, right? And sometimes we really have to go in there and check every definition to see, okay, is this measure using referencing my existing measure or not? But semantic link just does it like in running a single cell of code. You can understand what measure is using what. So again, this notebook does something else. Sorry about the typo here. I just get the modules running. I just download the modules. And then I just want to understand if there is any measure in my particular semantic model. And I'm trying to just understand if this particular measure has got any dependency. And if I run that, it actually tells me that my average trip distance measure is calculated using total passengers and total trip distance. And this comes from New York Taxi Yellow Data Table. And the total passengers is calculated using this particular column. Trip distance measure is coming from this particular fact table, and it's being calculated using this. So it's again helping me understanding where the dependencies are within my semantic model. Because sometimes it happens, you have got like say 150 measures on your semantic model, it's hard to understand the dependency. And especially when you're trying to clean up your model, it's just hard to see what you need to delete and what not. And I mean, there are amazing third-party tools out there that can do that like in a single click. But again, if you are restricted to them, you don't have access to them, can't download them, you can still continue your work, you can still do everything using this simple notebook code and get everything rolling. You really don't have to depend on anything. So I think, guys, I will stop any more use cases because there are so many use cases I can show you guys, but I would like to go back to my presentation for now. So this was some of the use cases I really feel are important when you want to understand the semantic model in a very quicker way, like what the model has got, what metadata it has got, what calculations are going on. Is there some, is there some way you can optimize it further? Then you can run your optimization techniques there by best practice analyzer or vertipag analyzer, and it helps you further optimize your data model as well. And then there are a few resources which you can go and see. I mean, these are all the links available. I would like to highlight one thing. Please go and read around the semantic link docs as well. There are use cases just in like say Fabric trial capacity. You need to have a paid capacity where say Copilot is enabled. So these semantic link docs give those details around those use cases or the packages that you're using. So it's very important you take them because a few days back I ran into a problem. I was not able to run a use cases. I reached out to Michael and he said like you need to go to these docs and read because this scenario actually uses AI. and you can't use AI because you are on a trial Fabric capacity. And I was like, okay, I should have checked that earlier. So that's why these docs are really important, because they kind of gives you detail around every scenario and what packages it uses and what are its limitations. And yeah, in the end, thank you guys. I mean, hopefully you guys enjoyed the session and learned something today. And yeah, if there are more questions, I'm open to more questions here, guys. Yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen just to get more bandwidth. And yeah, apologies if I was breaking in between.
No problem. Thanks a lot, Pragati. Yeah, it was a bit sticky in the middle there, but I think we got the gist of the presentation. And like we said in the chat there, you've just literally scratched the surface here. There's just so many use cases and possibilities that this opens up. So
yeah,
really great session.
yeah.
Thank you again for your time. I don't know, anybody else, anyone else got any last minute questions, anything you wanted to ask? Feel free to come off mute and switch on your camera if you've got any questions.
I just think, from our side also, Pragati, thank you so much. I think I have some homework to go do after this session. It was really great. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And also, I'm just putting in the link to my GitHub repo where you can find this presentation. There are all the sources there.
Excellent. Yeah, drop it in the chat.
Yeah, so
but,
put it. Maybe you
you.
can put it on your meetup page against the session, Nicole. That's what I generally ask hosts to do, so people can just pick it up from there. I'll share it on LinkedIn as well in case anyone wants to pick it up from there. And yeah, please do reach out to me with any feedback, because it's really important. I mean, if there's something, if I didn't do a good job, then yeah, it's not good for me to take your time. So if you feel like there should have been something better in the session, definitely reach out to me, and I'm open to the negative feedback as well, because that just helps me improve my future sessions. So definitely reach out to me if there's something you want to talk about in today's session. Let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, because it's always good to know both sides of the coins, right? So let me know how it went.
No, thank you very much again. I think
it's your lunchtime and
sorry,
yeah, it's your lunchtime, guys, and you are attending the session. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot again, Pragati, and then we'll
Thank you, Pragati.
Share the session and the resources afterwards. But yeah, keep an eye on the meetup page for our next event. But with that, hope you had a good lunch and good rest of your day further. See you all soon. Bye.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Niku. Bye.